what is going on? And has there been a loss of 1.9 billion cedis, as the report suggests or states? Let's begin with Ben Boakye. Ben, help us understand what is going on with the ECG in respect of this validation process.
Yeah, I think something the country agreed, whether you liked it or not. It was a decision of cabinet that we initiate a process where whatever revenue that comes in. First of all, what triggered the cash waterfall mechanism was the fact that not much revenue was being collected to be able to pay everybody in the value chain. So government decided that they will set up, that mechanism where whatever comes in will be distributed proportionally for every player in the sector to at least get some resources to operate with or to run with. And it was agreed. And I think it's been running for some time now until it started, seeing significant cracks in the process where ECG decided not to put all the money into the cash waterfall mechanism, but appropriated more of the revenue to itself than what was described by the cash waterfall mechanism. So a process to revisit that conversation and streamline things really is what has brought us here, because then PURC and the government agree that let's go into ECG to see what is actually happening. How are they utilizing the money? Where are the collections going? And prior to that, a directive, a clear instruction had been given that ECG opens a single operating account where all the money would be put in, so that the distribution is much more transparent and accountability therefore improved. So they wanted an auditor to go in to see if that was actually what is happening. And the revelation is staggering to see that from a single account proposition by cabinet, and as PURC keeps indicating, where the president himself was involved, that is what ought to happen. ECG was operating about 30 accounts with about 16 banks, from single to 16, not 3, not 4, 16 banks running several accounts. So that is what PricewaterhouseCoopers have been struggling to get enough details to come to a solid conclusion on how much actually ECG collects. What remains outstanding reading that report, and much critical also, is that we do not know. We don't know how much ECG actually collects, because they have not made available all their accounts for the auditor to ascertain how much they actually collect. So on the supposed single accounts, they don't put all the money in, and then they have scattered accounts that they will not disclose its content for you to be able to track how much they actually collect. And over time, we are seeing a widening under recovery. What that simply means is that how much they are supposed to collect, versus their bills, increasingly not matching, and therefore the state is consistently called upon to intervene or to pay. They are the the owners of the utility company. So this is really what has happened, and what PURC and PwC are asking is for more data so that they can be more conclusive on what the revenue outlook looks like, and what a decision can be taken based on what is being collected. So it's possible that what we call even inefficiency is just a lack of accountability. If you do not know how much is collected, and we classify a lot of things as inefficiency, it could just be somebody deciding not to account for the money that has come in. And getting to the bottom of that becomes increasingly important for the sustainability of the economy and also the power sector specifically.
So, in reading the report, I also acknowledge that the report is sort of titled Final Drafts. So, you are saying that you expect that something else will happen to change the adverse observations that they have made and the recommendations that have also been made in the report?
I think it's not a final report. They're looking to get all the accounts of ECG to be able to ascertain how much actually came in. Because, for example, if you have a single account where you're supposed to pay all the money through, and it is found that you paid, more than 600 million out of other accounts, how much millions do you have still in those accounts? The auditors are interested in knowing. And why would anybody stonewall access to those accounts? Are very intriguing for all of us to see how that comes to light, for us to appreciate it more and more. But at this point, we will say that we need that data to be able to clearly define the challenges of the power sector and why liquidity has become a major challenge at this point.
What's your understanding? This and the media reports, some of which said billions have been lost. What's your understanding of that?
I think at this point they are reporting discrepancies.
Because they refer to them in the report as a difference.
Yes.
So that's something that's not accounted for.
They still want to give ECG the opportunity to clarify and provide a backing documentation on those specifics. And that is what is outstanding for the report to be concluded, from my understanding and my reading.
Right. But in that case, why at all should this become a public debate when it is not concluded? And the PURC is this unhappy? Why?
Yeah, I think I saw PURC's statement and it really struck me. And my understanding and what I perceived it was that PURC is perhaps trying to rediscover itself and be able to be the regulator that it's supposed to be. Because their primary function really is to protect the consumer and also the businesses, the commercial interests of the businesses. All right. And in doing so, you approve a tariff that should ensure that the distributor does not undermine the generator, because without generation, there will be no power. They do not undermine the transmitter. And therefore, every interest is accounted for. And most importantly, the consumer's interest is protected. And regulations ensures that the consumer is not abused. And consistently, we have seen the consumer abused. And PURC has folded its arms and watching ECG abuse consumers. All right. So to see this directive, even though they could have done more, I think it's in the right direction for us to now see how we track, the delivery of the actions that has been outlined in that report. And I think also what I also picked is that this signals clearly and confirms all the speculations about confusion in the board of PURC itself, where some commissioners have even started resigning, and could have been an exodus of many because of stonewalling and political interference with the operations of the commission. And therefore, the resolve was then that let all of us come together and sign a directive to make sure that ECG complies. And that's why you see all the commissioners signing a statement that ordinarily could have been signed by either the executive secretary or anybody appointed to do so. So
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see how these things are panning out. But I hope that we can track the directives and get the results to protect the interests of the consumer.
Having followed the ECG,
serious assets. Let me give you a very. I started by saying that I'll give you an example.